What if the Russian Republic sued for peace? In the First World War, the Russian Empire would join on the side of the Entente, but after early successes would get defeated in Tannenberg. By 1915, Russia was pushed out of Poland, Lithuania, and Courland until the war would freeze down. The war would be brutal for Russia, as up to 3.4 million Russians would die, which wouldn't be just more than any other Allied combatant, but a slow more than any other participant. As if that wasn't bad enough, Tsar Nicholas II took charge of the army, which made people blame him for the defeats. While he was fighting the Germans, running the empire was left to his German wife. Oh, and also a peasant from Siberia, who may or may not have mystical powers and may or may not be the literal devil. His assassination wouldn't calm things down, and in March 1917 the people of Russia rose in the February Revolution, which ended with Tsar Nicholas II having to abdicate, ending the Russian Empire. As a replacement, the Russian Republic was formed. But despite of discontent due to the war causing this revolution, the new government continued the war, and so, after he armed them against Kornilov, the Bolsheviks would launch the October Revolution in November 1917. They would leave the war and would, after a years-long civil war, form the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics that would last until 1991, only for it to be replaced by the Russian Federation. But what if that didn't happen? What if the Russian Republic sued for peace? In this timeline, after coming to power, Georgy Lvov would seek an armistice with the Germans. Foreign Minister Pavel Milyakov would negotiate with the Germans, but they insisted on keeping the lands they already occupied. The Russians, not wanting to give up this much land, had the brilliant idea to neither fight nor have peace. This went just as great as you imagined, and the Germans launched Operation Faustschlag that ended with Livonia and Estonia falling to Germany as well. At this point, Russia was forced to make peace, and they signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. Germany would annex the Polish border strip, and Lithuania, which would become a part of Prussia. The Grand Duchy of Livonia would become member monarchies of the German Empire, with Adolf Friedrich of Mecklenburg-Schwerin as its dupe. Germany also puppets the Kingdom of Poland under Frederick August III, King of Poland, as King Frederick August II, the Kingdom of Finland, led by brother-in-law of Wilhelm II Frederick Charles of Hesse as Frederick Karl I, the Kingdom of Belarus under Prince Emil Friedrich of Prussia as Jeremy Friedrich I, the Kingdom of Ukraine under Prince Oscar of Prussia as Oscar I, and the Kingdom of Georgia under Prince Joachim of Prussia as Joachim I. The Ottoman Empire would annex Kars, Ardahan, and Batumi and puppet the Khanate of Azerbaijan under Osman Fuad I. With that, Russia is out of the war, but just as they left the war, the United States joined it. Fortunately for the Germans, it takes time for the Americans to arrive, and so they launched their summer offensive in July 1917. It was a success, and they managed to push the French and British back and encircle Paris. France has no other choice but to surrender, ending their participation in the war. The Italians are now screwed, as both Austria in the east and Germany from the west launch an offensive and quickly meet up near Milan. Italy too would have to surrender soon, followed by Greece. With that, fighting has stopped, except for Africa, and so in early 1918 the remaining Entente members sign an armistice in Ghent, bringing an end to the war. The first treaty signed was in Versailles with France, Belgium, and Luxembourg. Germany annexes all lands east of the Meuse and Moselle River, including all of Luxembourg. Belgium meanwhile becomes a German vassal state under Prince Adalbert of Prussia as Adalbert I, but in exchange gets Calais. Germany also takes Morocco, Dahomey, Upper Volta, Gabon, Congo, Ubangi, Shari, Belgian Congo, Madagascar, Djibouti, Indochina, Guangchuan, and New Caledonia. The Ottoman Empire takes Tunisia. In the Treaty of Milan, Austria-Hungary puppets the Kingdom of Lombardy-Venetia, which is in a personal union with Austria-Hungary. The Ottomans take back Tripolitania, the Dervish get Somalia, neutral Ethiopia gets Eritrea, and Germany takes the Italian concession in Tianjin. In the Treaty of Belgrade, Bulgaria annexes Dobruja, Barter Macedonia, the right back of the Morava River, and Greek Macedonia. The Ottoman Empire annexes Greek Aegean Islands, and Austria-Hungary annexes Montenegro. They also puppet Albania, Serbia, and Romania. With that, the Great War ends in a German victory. In March 1918, Russia holds its first election. The agrarian SRs managed to win 324 out of 647 seats, and are thus the biggest party. The second biggest party are the Mensheviks with 183 seats, followed by the Bolsheviks with 18 seats, Cossacks with 17 seats, Kadays with 16 seats, Alash with 15 seats, and Musavat with 10 seats. The remaining 64 seats are held by independents. The Socialist Revolutionaries just barely managed to win a majority of seats. The first democratically elected Russian prime minister is Viktor Chernov. In 1922, Viktor Chernov would win re-election, but lost a lot of seats. The Kazakh Alash transformed into a Turkic party, which allowed them to win in the rest of Central Asia and parts of Siberia. The Mensheviks, Kadays and Musavats all would gain seats, while the Socialist Revolutionaries would lose seats, but still remain as the biggest party. The SRs would enter into a coalition with the Kadays. In 1924, Vladimir Lenin would die and the Bolshevik Party would be in disarray. In the end, they agreed to reunify the Russian Social Democratic Labor Party with the Mensheviks. In 1926, the RDSW won for the third time in a row and Chernov got a third term. In 1930, Fyodor Dan of the RSDLP became prime minister, a position he held until 1938 when Alexander Kerensky of the RDS won and became third prime minister of Russia. Russia would resent the Germans as they have taken huge swaths of land from them. Russia would try to reassert its dominance when they invaded Mongolia. In China, without Russian help, the Northern Expedition fails, and the pro-Japanese Fengtian clique reunifies China. Given that Zhang Zhaolin was a monarchist, it is possible that he restores the Qing dynasty, but with him as head of government. Japan and China would form the Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere. Russia would industrialize during the interwar period, and would slowly become a great power. In Italy, Mussolini would still come to power and he would ally himself with Berlin. Germany and Italy would then invade Austria-Hungary. Italy would annex Lombardy, Venetia, Trentino, Istria, and all of Dalmatia. Germany annexes the Archduchy of Austria and Kingdom of Bohemia as member monarchies within the German Empire. Poland and Ukraine partition Galicia along ethnic lines. Germany puppets Romania and Serbia while Italy puppets Montenegro and Albania. The Kingdom of Hungary also becomes a German puppet state under Archduke Joseph August as Joseph III. Lastly, the independent state of Croatia is an Italian puppet state under Ante Pavlik. In Germany, Paul von Hindenburg and Erich von Ludendorff maintain power, and Germany is a military dictatorship. After the death of Ludendorff, August von Mackensen became Reichskanzler. Poles and Jews living in the Polish Strip would be deported to Poland and replaced by German settlers. German settlers would also colonize the Baltics. In the Ottoman Empire, the three pashas managed to center power around them, and the Sultan is merely their puppet. They would continue their genocide against Armenians, Greeks and Assyrians. Franco still wins in Spain thanks to help from Germany and Italy. In 1939, the Second Belgian Revolution broke out and Germany would use military force until British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain and French Prime Minister Edouard Daladier managed to convince Wilhelm II to hold the Munich Conference. They proposed that Germany withdraws out of Belgium and that it becomes independent. Furious Germany ends the conference and continues its war in Belgium and France, and the United Kingdom declared war on Germany, starting the Second World War. But just as Germans and Anglo-French forces met in Belgium, Kerensky ordered an invasion of the Central Powers. The Northern Front invades Finland, but would have difficulties due to guerrilla warfare. The Northwestern Front attacks in Estonia and Livonia, and quickly pushes to the Daugava River. The Western Front invades Belarus, and also reaches the Daugava and Dnipro River. The Southwestern Front would push into Ukraine and reach the Dnipro River, but would fail to take Crimea. The Southern Front would fail to take Georgia and Azerbaijan due to the Caucasus Mountains. Germany would be forced to withdraw out of Belgium to MLR defendable terrain. The Italians would hold the French at the Alps. Until the war is over, the elections would be postponed in Russia. In 1940, Japan joined the war as a third player when they invaded German, British and Dutch colonies in Southeast Asia, which caused the Netherlands to join the war as well, and also Russia itself. They also bombed Pearl Harbor, meaning the United States joined the war. The war would start to go south for the Central Powers in 1941. Italy invaded Greece and it went horribly, and the Germans had to help them out. Bulgaria then officially joined the war. Though Greece was crushed, this showed the incompetence of Italy. The Ottomans, Germans, and Italians withdraw out of Tunis, ending the North African campaign. Togo and Southwest Africa already fell in 1939 and 1940, but Middle Africa under the leadership of Leto Vorbeck is holding strong. With the North African campaign over, the Allies land in Sicily and Mussolini got overthrown. Germany then invaded Italy and established the Italian Social Republic. With Arab help, the Allies also made the Ottoman Empire collapse, meaning Georgia fell too. Bulgaria then switched sides and invaded the Balkans with Russian help. Fearing an encirclement, Germany withdraws out of Ukraine. The Allies of the West would launch a massive offensive and would push the Germans back to the Rhine River. Russia launched Operation Bagration, which saw the German army of the center collapse and Russia pushed all the way to Poland. In 1943, both sides were pushing Germans back, and with the fall of Berlin, the war ended. In 1944, Japan too would fall. Russia would annex back Finland, Livonia, Lithuania, Poland, the Polish Strip, Belarus, Ukraine, Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Batumi. Russia puppets Prussia, Galicia, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, Yugoslavia, Greece, and Turkey. France would annex Alsace-Lorraine and puppet the Rhenish Republic. The United Kingdom would puppet the Kingdom of Hanover, and the United States would puppet the South German Confederation. Austria and Italy would become pro-Western regimes, while Belgium annexed Luxembourg. France, UK, and Belgium retake their former colonies and partition the remaining German and Ottoman ones. In Hejaz, Arabia, the Levant, and Mesopotamia, the Hashemite Kingdom of Arabia under Abdullah I is formed, and it is closely aligned to the United Kingdom. In East Asia, Mongolia annexes Inner Mongolia and Russia puppets Manchuria and Xinjiang. Pro-British Tibet would annex Qinghai and western Sichuan, while Formosa becomes a British colony. French Indochina gets Hainan. The rest becomes a republic under Wang Jinhui. Korea is split into a Russian North and American South. Japan is split between the Russian Republic, the United States of America, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and French Third Republic. After the Second World War, despite of both being democratic, a Cold War would emerge between Russia and the United States. After the war, elections would be held again in Russia, with Alexander Kerensky winning in 1946. In 1950, Iraklit Siraleti wins the elections and rules until 1958. In 1952, Japan would be split into the Republic of Japan, which is a Russian puppet state, and Japan, which is friendly to the US and maintains its emperor. In 1950, the Korean War starts, but without China, Russia ends up losing and Seoul reunifies Korea. The Iranian coup would end up causing a standoff between the West and Moscow, and Moscow supports Mosaddegh. In the end, Iran was split into the Republic of Iran in the north under Mohammad Mossadegh and the Imperial State of Iran under Mohammad Reza Pahlavi in the south. Israel wouldn't be formed, as it isn't a British colony, nor did a Holocaust happen. This may be enough for the Egyptian revolution to never happen. In 1956, Egypt annexes Sudan, and the monarchy in Libya and Tunisia don't get overthrown. The only Arab republics are Mauritania, Algeria, Djibouti, and Comoros. The oil crisis also wouldn't happen. Here, the Vietnam War would be between the pro-French Empire of Vietnam under Bao Dai and the pro-Russian Republic of Vietnam under Ngo Dinh Diem, with a victory for the French. In this timeline, the Cold War is still going on. In this timeline, Russia is one of the two world powers, but with China slowly becoming a third player. Russia controls all of Eastern Europe, Central Asia, Outer China, and Northern Japan. But it does so under a democracy, with the current prime minister being Sergei Mironov. If you liked the episode, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.